you know, he made $100 million. You know, and he's his own boss. He can say and do what he wants to do, having a great team.
Yeah.
Because no one person can do it by himself. That was the core of the team.
Gotcha.
You know, and it was a tremendous sacrifice, you know, especially for me. I worked like 15 years straight, 7 days a week, 20 hours a day.
Wow.
You know, the whole middle part of my life,
yeah,
it didn't exist. It didn't exist.
Now you have this egg on your face and things are falling apart. And people are wondering, did you get screwed? Or was it your own financial ignorance, and now you're bitter?
People taking shots at a great fighter, Mayweather. Probably the same people that were, you know, applauding him and saying how great he was at one point. Now they're taking shots at him like they're almost, you know, like they get pleasure out of seeing a great fight.
You're right, but when you call yourself the money man, you do it to yourself a little bit too.
No, I can't argue with that.
Leonard Ellerbe recently commented on the situation involving Floyd Mayweather reportedly losing his $1.1 billion fortune and facing financial difficulties. According to Ellerbe, this result did not come as a surprise. During the time he worked alongside Mayweather, he observed a pattern of excessive spending that ultimately contributed to these financial issues.
Saying from day one what it is that, and they know, everybody laughed at me. They laughed at me. They said, oh, you know, he just talking nonsense. I've been told all of you.
Leonard Ellerbe points out that as Floyd Mayweather reaches a high level of fame and success, public criticism is inevitable. He emphasizes that the true challenge is how Mayweather responds to that pressure and scrutiny.
At the end of the day, when you're on top, when you're at the top, you can expect criticism. It just comes with success. And it's all about how you handle things. And me personally, none of it's personal. None of it's personal.
Leonard Ellerbe states that Floyd Mayweather had the opportunity to establish a solid business career, but that would have required a more serious approach and thoughtful decision-making.
One who formed his own company.
Right.
But he was the first one that had a team surrounded by him. That our focus was the business and his focus was the boxing. And in turn, we built the brand, built Mayweather Promotions.
Yeah.
And Floyd became his own boss.
Wow.
And that was the...
Logan Paul takes a jab at Floyd Mayweather Jr., saying he is still waiting on the $1.5 million he claims remains unpaid from their exhibition bout.
Because he's still waiting on the 1.5 from Floyd Mayweather. He made this video simultaneous beef with Le'Veon, and I don't know, maybe it's coincidence, maybe it is.
Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao 2. The fight nobody asked for except me. I need this because if Floyd wins, he can finally pay me my $1.5 million. I don't care about the legacy fight. I don't care that these men have a combined age of 100 years. I care that Floyd Mayweather, the best boxer alive, uses those same hands that made him 100 million to Venmo me my money. And Floyd, if you're watching this, win it and pay me back or I'm gonna send my goons after you. Gotcha. Hey.
Don't know why I watched that. Yeah, listen, dude. Logan is, again, functionally a coward for not doing this. I was really excited for it, too. I couldn't wait. That was going to be content, stud. But, I mean, okay, yes, I understand if he is under WWE contract, they're not going to allow him to do so.
Teddy Atlas notes that many who once supported Floyd Mayweather Jr. have now turned against him, ridiculing him and laughing at what they see as his biggest downfall.
Oh, yeah, like you said, he was Mayweather, Money Mayweather, and now he's suing because he went through his money, he blew his money, whatever. Look, I don't know what the truth is fully in there. I know Steven Espinoza was named. He ran Showtime at the time. He was named him. I never was a fan of Espinoza. Again, I'm not afraid to say and not mince my words when I feel a certain way. And I've taken arrows for it, and of course I've also taken some praise for it. That people say, hey, Teddy's gonna say what he feels. I was never a fan of him. I never thought he was a man that kept his word. I never thought he really did a great job over at Showtime. I mean, they put some good fights on because the fights were available, because the landscape made it.
WAC 100 argues that Floyd Mayweather Jr. isn't financially struggling. saying his true wealth comes from peace of mind and his ability to remain untouched by rumors or public opinion about his life and career.
Floyd is rich at right now,
What's that?
his peace of mind. When I send him things, like I send you things when it's pertaining to you, when he gets the time, he'll call me and he say, hey, Wack, what's that? And I tell him, he said, that's nonsense. He said, well, as long as they trying to figure me out, they not gonna be able to figure out what they need to do. And he continues to move. I will say this without saying too much, that I've seen him pass on some big deals based upon business he already has on the table. But again, I've been to his home, I talk to him regular. He's my business partner.
Paulie Malignaggi explains that if Floyd Mayweather Jr. had handled his finances more privately, his wealth likely wouldn't be under scrutiny. Instead, frequent public displays of his lifestyle have led people to closely question his financial situation.
But he was seeing how much Floyd was making, right? And Floyd himself was flaunting himself like he was the guy who was making that kind of money. And for all intents and purposes, I assume he was. Everybody assumed he was, and it seemed like he thought he was because he wasn't complaining. He was showing off, you know? This is why, as I get older, I feel like, and everybody always tells you this when you're young, like, keep your finances private, you know, and this is why I think this is a big reason why. First and foremost, you notice that if you don't keep your finances private, everybody and their mother asks you for money constantly. And they don't ask you for...
That happens either way.
And they don't ask you, well, people assume you have money, but if you flaunt it, you definitely, they confirm you have money. And they don't ask you for money like you need to buy the Rolex or the Lamborghini. They'll guilt you into it. They need their mother's dying in the hospital. They need to pay for a funeral. Their kid is sick. Like, they guilt you into it, and you almost feel bad not giving it.
Boxing analyst examines the unexpected financial decline associated with Floyd Mayweather Jr., who was widely known for showcasing his wealth. Throughout his career, he collaborated with several prominent figures, including Steven Espinoza and Showtime, and is now involved in a lawsuit against them, seeking $340 million over alleged unpaid funds. His longtime advisor, Al Heyman, is not directly part of this legal dispute. As these legal issues continue to grow, the analyst also points out that Mayweather's lavish lifestyle may have played a role in his financial challenges, citing his extensive collections of luxury cars and jewelry, along with ownership of a private jet.
That we are going to go through in this video. Now, I've been covering boxing for double-digit years. Allow me to take you through it. A simple Google search shows Floyd Mayweather. You type in his name, you're going to see some fight photos and whatnot. But the top stories, and there's multiple stories, and we're going to take a look at some of them. But as mentioned, Business Insider is now reporting what you see on the screen, that Floyd Mayweather is being accused in lawsuits of owing millions of dollars for luxury watches, gold, and rent on palatial apartment, right? Bullet points. Floyd was sued for allegedly failing to pay rent on a luxurious duplex.
Luxury residences, high rental costs, and overdue payments began to build up, eventually leading to legal action. A couple in Miami who owns one of the condos he rented claims that Floyd Mayweather Jr. accumulated close to $500,000 in unpaid rent. Although payments were made at the start, communication reportedly stopped when attempts were made to recover the remaining balance. Analysts suggest that a combination of excessive spending, weak financial oversight, and dependence on others for money-related decisions ultimately contributed to these problems. They also emphasize that fame and wealth alone do not ensure long-term financial security, noting that even elite athletes can encounter serious financial difficulties if their money is not managed carefully.
This sum represents the $500,000 in arrears plus late fees minus a deposit that Mayweather paid at the start of the lease and the $100,000 catch-up payment. So they deducted what he did submit when he was made aware of this, the $100K, and I guess a deposit, so the remaining balance is that. An attorney for Mayweather did not provide a comment by deadline. He has not responded to the lawsuit in court. In a separate legal matter, so we've already went over one with this luxury condo in Manhattan, right? But a separate legal matter, a Miami jeweler sued Floyd Mayweather last month, alleging the boxer owes more than $1 million for jewelry that he took but never paid.
Paulie Malignaggi and Chris Algieri discuss how Floyd Mayweather Jr., despite generating enormous earnings, could still encounter financial difficulties. Malignaggi emphasizes that it's difficult to understand how someone operating at Mayweather's financial level could allow large sums of money to go unaccounted for. He contrasts everyday luxury purchases, such as buying a Ferrari or expensive jewelry, with a vastly larger scale of Mayweather's income, noting that while smaller expenses are manageable, Mayweather's cash flow required far more precise oversight. Algieri adds that during the peak of Mayweather's career, even overlooking the income from a single fight could result in substantial financial loss. Over time, repeated lapses in tracking earnings across multiple events could accumulate, with small errors compounding into more significant financial discrepancies.
I don't know, like, there's guys who have a lot of money, okay? For me, I could go into a jewelry store, spend 20,000 at the time, like nothing. Like, you know what, I didn't plan on going there. I bought a Ferrari. I went to with my friend to go check out a Ferrari he was gonna buy. I went there and I'm like, I got this in my account, I could buy this right now. You know, like that, you know? And I'm not saying that's smart, what I'm saying is,
your accountant must have loved you.
yeah, really. But what I'm saying is, I got good money for that when I sold it.
I'm listening.
The used car market came back at the time. But anyway, what I'm saying is, it could go like that, okay? That kind of money. But bro, 340 million? That's not Ferrari, but that's a lot of Ferraris, a lot of houses.
But Floyd had a lot of Ferraris, and that's the thing about Floyd. Like, yes, is that way too much money? Yes, that's a crazy amount.
Paulie Malignaggi draws comparisons to past situations, referencing fighters such as Mike Tyson who experienced major financial losses due to poor management and being exploited by others. Both analysts stress that the financial challenges faced by Floyd Mayweather Jr. did not appear suddenly many years after his peak earnings. Instead, the situation suggests that either concerns were raised earlier or his financial records are now being closely examined. Overall, the discussion reinforces the idea that fame and substantial income do not automatically ensure lasting financial stability, even for the highest earners in the sport.
Crack of an entire fight person, more than one fight, multiple fight
at the height of your career.
$340 million? There's nights where you didn't make that much money in a night.
But we heard about stuff like this with Mike Tyson back in the day. Yep. Big money losses, people taking advantage of him, a number of different things. Now, all that being said and done, 10 years is the point. That is the major point of all of this. Because when you look about this now, 10 years, where does this come from? It makes me think that someone's gotten in his ear. And maybe, where does this come from out of nowhere? Is he going through the books now, 10 years later? No, of course not. Someone else is. Someone else is probably telling him, hey man, this is like this, this is like that. So you
think it did happen?
I don't know. I think someone, regardless of whether it happened or it didn't,
that's what I'm wondering.
Unless it's coming out of nowhere, unless he literally is just getting just
he's losing his mind because there's a lot of rumors about him losing money, right?
Losing money, being I don't want to say destitute, but the old saying, the mighty.
Dan Raphael explains that it was not unexpected for Floyd Mayweather Jr. to encounter financial difficulties after retiring from boxing. He suggests that anyone who closely observed Mayweather's habits could have anticipated such an outcome. Given the openness with which he displayed his spending, Raphael describes Mayweather's lifestyle as highly extravagant and very public, featuring private jets, luxury automobiles, costly travel, and frequent showcases of wealth. He adds that Mayweather operated on a level of spending that was difficult for most people to comprehend, and much of it was visible to the public through social media posts, interviews, and various video appearances.
But the fact that Floyd would encounter some financial issues post his boxing career is not in any way a surprise to me. When you see the types of things that, if you believe anything that he puts on his social media, the travel that he does, the places he goes, and the amount of entourage he has, that's like a money pit. Whether you're flying on private jets or you're staying at first-class hotels or you're, buying expensive jewelry and cars and bags and you name it. It's all good when you're making those gigantic paydays and they're coming in, a couple times a year. You're making 40 million here and 25 million there, or even more, 100 million plus, when he fought the big mega fights with guys like Conor McGregor and Manny Pacquiao. But when that stops, that money doesn't,
Dan Raphael stresses that a pattern of spending like this can make financial difficulties nearly unavoidable. He explains that even for a highly successful figure such as Floyd Mayweather Jr., consistently high and uncontrolled expenses, combined with a focus on an extravagant lifestyle, can gradually diminish massive earnings over time, according to Raphael. Mayweather's lifestyle included frequent travel and luxury, purchases of high-end items, and maintaining an expensive standard of living that required continuous financial output. He views this as a broader lesson for athletes and public figures, noting that regardless of how large one's income may be, spending beyond sustainable limits can eventually lead to serious financial consequences. The combination of visible luxury, ongoing high costs, and long-term financial mismanagement helps explain why Mayweather may be experiencing monetary issues despite earning record-breaking sums throughout his career.
Allegations about the $340 million, it just didn't ring true to me, because Al Heyman, who is not named in the suit, but apparently is supposedly part of this problem, whatever. But I mean, I've known Al Heyman and covered Al Heyman's fighters and his business since the day he stepped in boxing in like 2002 with Vernon Forrest. And all that time, and literally in terms of the PBC, you know, a couple hundred fighters that he's dealt with, maybe not personally, but that his team is and his company. To a fighter, you never hear anybody, even when they're retired and they're not with Al anymore, nobody talks bad about him. In fact, if you ask most fighters, they'll tell you how good to them that he has been, that type of money that they've helped him make, and the person that he's paid, and the guidance that he
outlines the recent legal steps taken by Floyd Mayweather Jr., noting that after encountering financial concerns, Mayweather chose to pursue legal action against several of his former associates. Fannin explains that although Mayweather reportedly earned more than $1 billion during his undefeated boxing career, he now alleges that a significant portion of those earnings did not reach his personal accounts. The lawsuit is directed at Showtime and its former president Steven Espinoza, with claims suggesting their involvement in financial handling connected to Al Heyman. Fannin points out that while Heyman is not listed as a defendant in the case, Mayweather maintains that Showtime and Espinoza provided considerable support in managing the funds in question.
According to TMZ, let's get to the TMZ. Floyd Mayweather sues Showtime, saying, "I'm missing hundreds of millions of dollars." Floyd Mayweather Jr. says he made over $1 billion in earnings over his legendary career, but the 50-0 fighter claims all the money didn't make it to his bank account. He is now suing Showtime, claiming they played a big role in his ex-manager screwing him out of hundreds of millions of dollars. In the lawsuit filed by Floyd in California and obtained by TMZ Sports, Mayweather says he's gunning to recover hundreds of millions of dollars in the misappropriated funds and damages resulting from long-running and elaborate financial fraud.
Explains that the lawsuit claims revenues from high-profile bouts, including those against Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor, were allegedly routed into accounts associated with Al Heyman instead of being fully delivered to Floyd Mayweather Jr. The filing also states that when Mayweather's side later requested access to financial records from Showtime, the documents were reportedly unavailable or could not be retrieved, which added to concerns over how the funds were handled. Fannin notes that this situation reflects the difficulties athletes can face when dealing with large financial sums, where dependence on others, combined with insufficient oversight, can result in significant losses. He adds that Mayweather's legal action is aimed at recovering money he believes was not properly accounted for, while also highlighting the complicated relationships that exist between fighters, their representatives, and broadcasting networks in professional boxing.
Those parties to see whether or not this is something that Floyd should have known about, or did know about, or maybe did not understand. Because it seems very, very funny that Floyd would not know that the money was getting paid to Al Heyman and not directly to him. Regardless, I don't know the outcome of that. I will talk about this though. The absolute blatant karma up in Floyd Mayweather's face for all the smack he talked about Muhammad Ali and how Muhammad Ali's name was only worth $50 million and he sold half of his name for $50 million and how he's made so much more money and that makes him all of that. talked about how Muhammad Ali, I'm sure, or I don't know if he did, but I'd heard, talked about Floyd. Yeah, he did, because he talked about his money and how he had to sell his name because he didn't have.
WAC 100 explains that Floyd Mayweather Jr. remains composed and largely unaffected by external criticism or social media narratives that he does not personally engage with. He suggests that a significant portion of Mayweather's wealth is organized through various business structures such as trusts, corporations, and investment entities, which makes direct ownership less apparent to the public, according to WAC 100. This approach helps preserve financial stability even if it is not clearly visible from the outside. He adds that despite public assumptions, Mayweather is satisfied with his lifestyle and confident in his financial position. WAC 100 further notes that Mayweather places value beyond finances, finding fulfillment in personal life, particularly in spending time with his family and enjoying moments with his grandson, highlighting that a sense of stability and contentment extends beyond monetary success.
The thing that's going on out there is phasing him or get to him. He doesn't even control his social media. He doesn't see it. I'm telling you, he doesn't see it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's posting himself. He has someone that
he doesn't see it. He doesn't pay it any attention. When I need something done, I have to send it through different channels for it to get done. But no, he's definitely not. I mean, we know that. He has tons of businesses going on. They were making accusations that he didn't own the things he owned. You're not gonna find nothing in Floyd's name directly. You're not gonna find. When you're dealing with that type of money and those type of situations, you know this, Vlad, it's set up. It could be a foundation, a trust.
Yeah, shell companies, corporations, LLCs, whatever.
I know some of these people that they'll say they own 40 different companies, but what it is, they're part of an investment.
Wraps up today's video. Make sure to stay tuned until next time.